Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for showing me so much love on the Beats video that I made before. So I'm making another one about some Beats tips on how to sell on Beatstars specifically. We got Kuno in the background, so he might make an appearance at some point, but until then, I'm gonna go through some awesome tips that I found. I found it right through Beatstars. Usually when you're looking to sell stuff online through an online platform, they'll post the answers to a lot of your basic questions on like, what do you need to sell in the first place, or what do you need to do in order to sell? So I'm going through some of these tips and I'm going to give my commentary on each of their tips as they put them and sort of give you my opinions. So we're just jumping right into it. Tip number one is go to my YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. We also have the tip of you film around your cat so he can distract you. For real, here's the entire list of tips that they posted. And I'm gonna go through each one by one, give some opinions on each. First one is to be business-minded, basically. And yeah, like, of course. I mean, I get that there's a lot of artists out there that haven't had to put their sort of like selling cap on, and this tip is meant to speak to those people. This is a business. You're in business to sell beats. You wouldn't have clicked on this video if you weren't trying to sell something. So yeah, the whole context of this conversation we're about to have is about selling. Next is get branding right. And you know, I agree with this. I'm not personally a great sort of like graphics designer type of artist. So I really struggle with this stuff. If you're just getting started, I wouldn't put a huge barrier, you know, create your music, focus on that. But at some level, you're gonna have to do some branding assets just to get your Beatstars up and online, as well as the other social accounts that you're hoping to start. So if you have any graphics designer friends, or even just some sort of artist friends that can just pump out a few assets for you, like have that done. If not, hit up someone on Fiverr. It's relatively inexpensive. If you're not sure what to do, keep it really simple, black and white sort of stuff. Don't mess with color unless you've got proper resourcing or you're a visual artist as well. And I would even hold off on this step until you're doing some of the stuff that we're going to talk about in a little bit, including producing a lot of beats. Like once you've got that schedule up and running, maybe think about doing a logo. Their next bullet is know your audience and study the analytics. That's honestly, it's sort of redundant from another one on this list, which is use TubeBuddy to do like keyword research and analytics. Yes, all of that stuff is important, but if you're just getting off the ground, I would focus on just making the art itself and getting it out there, getting the volume that you need out there, and hopefully letting one or two of those beats pop off and then using that to inform your future decisions. From there, you can obviously do more optimizing. I just don't kill yourself doing analytics and optimization from the beginning, because it's gonna kill the art. It's really gonna kill your drive to actually produce stuff that you love. So just watch out for that when you're looking at analytics. It's something to be aware of, but for beginners, just like don't sweat that too hard. Next tip is post 3 beats per day and 12 beats per month minimum. And I've got to tell you, if we're talking about Beatstars specifically, this is their tip, as well as every single top artist that I could find in any top genres on Beatstars. So the artists that are really crushing it, and these were artists that were large and really established, as well as super like new artists that aren't a well-known name in the producer scene. Every single one that's topping a chart on Beatstars is posting at least 3 times a week. So this, I would say, if there's any sort of tip that you get out of this video, that one seems to be the most like true basic requirement and not skippable. You need to be posting beats. I saw some artists that were really like low in terms of following, but they were posting once a day on Beatstars right now, and a bunch of them were on top charts because they're posting so frequently. It's something to do with Beatstars. They need the content out there, I'm guessing, and so they really promote producers that are producing tons of content. It is what it is. There's a whole conversation around quality versus quantity to be had there, but that's not for this video. 3 beats per week, 12 per month minimum. Stick with it, otherwise don't expect to sell a whole lot on Beatstars. Next is post everywhere. Post on your blog, post on your Instagram, post on your SoundCloud, post on your YouTube, post on your Pinterest. Post on your literally every single place that you can. And yeah, that's true. That's just a distribution thing. In my personal opinion, I would rely firstly on making sure that your work is getting distributed throughout Beatstars and you're pervasive through the top charts on Beatstars first. And secondary to that, promoting on your other social platforms to the people who already know you. I'm assuming you haven't built up a huge audience on any social platform yet. So it can get really overwhelming trying to post every single place. So I would pick Beatstars and then maybe one or two other places to post to and really just focus on optimizing for Beatstars specifically. I'm not too familiar yet on how Beatstars treats incoming traffic that you send to the website from other platforms. That can be sort of a depending on each platform, they treat those things differently. So I'm not quite sure how Beatstars does it. So for now, focus on Beatstars itself and any platform that you may have a following of people who have purchased from you in the past. That's the most important part, is posting where people follow you that have actually given you money before. The next tip is to monetize your SoundCloud and Audio Mac. And I'm not sure exactly if they mean this in like a very specific way, but the way that I'm reading it is that they want you to use those two platforms as a way to get your music out there and then put a plugin to link back to your Beatstars. So if someone finds you and discovers you on these more like free discoverable platforms, that they are aware that you have a Beatstars where they can purchase and license your beats from. If they don't know that in the first place, they're not going to. If they're going to do it, you might even find people who want to license your content, and because they don't know that you have a proper place to go and do that, they might end up ripping it or going with a different producer. So making sure just like the awareness that your Beatstars account exists and that you're willing to license, and making it easy for the people who do want to pay you to actually go do that. I really think that that's more the point here. Yeah. Next is do a bi-weekly email list and email your 6 most recent tracks. Now, if we're doing the math correctly here, 3 beats a week, and you're going to email bi-weekly, that means that you'd email 6 tracks, because over the course of 2 weeks, you'd have 6 new tracks. The tool you want to use for generating an email list, if you haven't done this before, is called MailChimp. Link in the description if you want that. And you can use that to build out your email list. It's easy for people to sign up, and it's easy for you to blast out your most recent 6 tracks. Side tip, if you skip a week or a bye-week, or if you just produce more content or less content, it's fine to email the same stuff. Like if you've only produced 5 tracks, but you want to put 6 in, throw in one from the email last time. It's okay to like double down a few times, or to email a few times, say like, here are my top tracks this week, which would be a separate email chain from my most recent tracks. Start the email list. It's a good thing to have for sure, and it's free. So yeah. Next tip is to always, and this I would definitely like stick with, especially if you're in the early days and you're not getting a huge like waterfall of purchases coming in. If you're having 1 or 2 trickle in a day, always follow up with an email saying thank you and an upsell discount code for the next sale. In fact, I see a lot of BOGO beat selling happening on Beatstars right now too. So any of those types of deals where it's like buy one beat, get a second beat for free, or emailing people who have purchased from you with a discount, 50% off your next beat. Thank you so much for supporting me as a producer, and like here's a discount code for the next time. That sort of stuff is super important, and make it like, if you don't have like a huge waterfall of people coming in and purchasing from you, make it handwritten, because like that stuff kills. If people know that they have a point of contact directly to you where you emailed them, and they can email back at any point and say, hey, thanks so much, or I have a question or something like that, that crushes, and that will absolutely like create a lifelong customer for you. So obviously over time, the more and more you do that, the more people will continue to come back, and it has like this snowball effect. The next is keep a spreadsheet of customers that you have, notes about those customers, and the reasons why they purchased from you in the first place. And that's going to do a few things for you. It'll allow you to do some follow-up 6 months down the road. Hey, I noticed you haven't purchased a beat recently. Are you still in need of beats, or have you been going with in a different direction? It can inform or give you inspiration for new beats to make, the answers to those questions, as well as the answers to how did you find me in the first place, or like why did you purchase in the first place? Those answers are going to tell you where the rubber meets the road in terms of someone actually pulling a credit card out of their wallet and typing it in because of something you did and to give you that money. So knowing where the rubber meets the road there is super important, and it will tell you how to actually make the money that you need to make in the future and to grow the whole thing. This sort of system is called a CRM, a customer relations management tool. And yeah, you could just use a spreadsheet. It's super simple for the early days at least. The next tip is to use 2 hours of your day every day on social media. And I've made a video about this, selling beats on Instagram like crazy. Card is on the screen right now if you want to check that out. But being on Instagram specifically and actually like pounding the pavement virtually and talking to people is going to be probably the #1 way for you to bring in new business. It's a way to force yourself to be discoverable. And even Beatstars is kind of affirming that that's the way to go. The next tip is a little iffy. They tell you to advertise on Google Ads, Facebook, and Instagram. If you're just getting started, I would skip this. There's 2 different flavors of ways to be found. There's the organic way and the advertising way online. And if you don't have the organic side down pat, organic is free except for your time. And the benefit of ads is you're paying, but it doesn't take up as much time. And until you get the organic side figured out and you sort of understand who your customer is and what they're looking for, you're not going to be able to make ads work for you. It's not going to work. So get the organic side really flowing really well so that you don't even have to feel like you have to do 2 hours a day on social media because you've got such a flow going already. And that's when you can start to figure out the advertising side. So the next tip is apparently a Beatstars functionality that I haven't used myself, but feel free to use it. It sounds pretty good. It is the get a free beat in exchange for your email address or a social media follow. I would stick with the email over the follow. I think an email address is worth a lot more to you in the end than a social media follow, but do either, see what works. As long as the people are engaged online and you can DM them and talk to them. Again, coming back to this idea of talking to these customers. Talk to your customers even before they become a customer. Ask them what they're looking for. Allowing someone to get a free download in exchange for giving you that information and really that connection, the ability to connect, is pretty powerful. Use it. I've never used that functionality on Beatstars, but it's there. Take advantage of it. Second to last tip is use Google Analytics ID and or use the Facebook Pixel functionality. This is all sort of measuring analytics of people passing through the pages and where you're getting your traffic from. It's good to have. Don't crush yourself or kill yourself doing it right off the bat. I would say punt this one till later until you get a steady flow going. Yeah, it's just not super critical to do right off the bat. And the last tip is collaborate with other artists. I feel like that's pretty obvious. If you can, I'm assuming that you don't have a huge network of people to collaborate with. If you do, obviously do it. If not, maybe throw 2 or 3 hours in your calendar once a week to spend time seeking out artists and emailing them and asking them for if they'd be interested in collaborating. Whew, that was a long list of a lot of tips. I hope some of it ends up being really helpful to you. If you enjoy and want more beat type videos and more like sort of hip hop based selling content, just hit the subscribe button. I see a ton of people coming in that are obviously beat producers on this channel. So I'm considering just making more videos like this, and I'm actually talking to some local rappers. I'm in San Francisco, so any East Bay or San Francisco hip-hop artists, rappers, producers, if you're in the area and you'd want to have more of a one-on-one conversation, hit me up in the comments. I will follow up with you, and yeah, I'd love to do some sort of like collaboration type work there. All right, until then, peace.